everyone online wants you to get rich fast. Everyone's got some list of day trading. Everyone's got some drop shipping course. Everyone's got the next big meme coin, the next big crypto moonshot. You can name it. The list goes on and on. What you see far less of is the much more realistic, much more sure path to wealth that I've used to build a multi-$100,000 net worth by the time I was in my early 30s. And the reason you don't see this is because it's not sensationalized, it's boring, it's probably much more on par with something that your grandparents told you than something you should see in a YouTube video. And it's a pretty simple equation. You keep your expenses lean, you work on consistently increasing your income, whether that's through owning your own business or working a 9 to 5 like me, and you invest the rest consistently. And then you kind of just sit back and let time and compound interest do its thing. I know a lot of you aren't going to listen to me, and you're going to just start rolling your eyes, and that's fine, because guess what? That's what I would have done, too, if I was probably in my early 20s, because that's what I did. And guess what? I lost a bunch of money. So who's the real winner there? So before you completely just throw the old man knowledge out the door and go back to what you're doing, let me just run you through a few scenarios here to kind of explain the power of compound interest in just a couple seconds here. So scenario A, let's say you're someone who starts at 18 years old. They invest $3,000 a year from the time they're 18 till the time they're 65. We assume a 9% rate of return, which is pretty in line with what the stock market's done historically. That person would have a net wealth of $1.64 million by the time they were 65, which is far, far more than the capital they would have invested. But here's where you can kind of see the power. So if that same exact person waits until they're 25 to start investing, and they invest the same amount, $3,000 a year, from the time they're 25 to the time they're 65, assuming the same rate of return, 9%, that person would only have $820,000. So same exact amount of effort, just 7 years of waiting, you basically lose half of the money. It's bananas. I remember I saw this once when I was in college. It's the only class I've ever failed in my life. It was like a computer science class or some shit. And the guy made us use some computer program to effectively calculate compound interest. And I don't even remember the computer lesson we were supposed to be learning. I just remember having my mind blown by this concept. And still, for some reason, I really didn't start to take it seriously until I was about 23 or 24. I was too busy chasing the fast buck. And guess what? I probably have, I don't know, a lot more money had I just listened to the advice at the time. But I think there were really a couple things holding me back. I know one, that carrot of trying to get the fast buck, which just is not real, was definitely burning in the back of my mind. And the second part that really held me back was when I started thinking like the stock market, this old ass way of making money, like it just seemed like it was confusing. You know what I mean? It seemed like it was complicated. And what I found in time is it's far, far, far less complicated than it seems. I think that the industry intentionally makes it seem more complicated than it is because they want to sell you something. They want to sell you some kind of an investing solution. They want to tell you can't do it on your own, and they can be the ones to help you. I'm not saying you shouldn't have some kind of a financial manager. Just be wary, especially if you start to look at their fee structures and they're coming in high. Because the truth is, anybody worth their salt in investing should probably give you a very, very, very simple investing strategy that could be explained to a layman in a couple of minutes. And it shouldn't look anything more complicated than using tools like index funds or ETFs to consistently invest your capital in the S&P 500 or whichever segment of the market that you feel that you want to invest in. And it shouldn't be moving around. There shouldn't be any guys in cigars and Bugattis. You shouldn't be drinking martinis in a New York skyline. Like literally, you're just a person maybe making 50 grand a year like I was when I came out of college, and you're living on 35 and you're investing the rest. That is a guaranteed slow path to wealth, or pretty close to guaranteed at least. There's no such thing as a guarantee in investing. And another thing that really held me back in the beginning was maybe I was in a job that I didn't like, and I was like, well, I just can't wait for 2 years. I need the money today. And what finally changed my perspective on this was when I had messed up once. Once I bought a weed company. I was like, oh, they're legalizing weed federally. It's going to be, or state by state. It's going to be the next big gold rush. And I bought this company, Aurora Cannabis, in 2017 maybe. And I bought $1,000 worth, which was a small investment for me at the time, because I knew it was risky. And it started to go down. I was like, it'll be fine. and I ended up selling it like 2 years later for a total of $26. So effectively a complete loss. I lost like $980 on a $1,000 investment. And if I had waited, it's even lower now than it was back then. So it's just like, when I was younger in the game, I thought that, oh, the stocks go so low, but eventually they've got to snap back. And that's not true. Like, stick to the safer roads, especially if you're just getting started out in investing. And to break that thought process of like, I need to be rich by tomorrow, I can't wait. Well, I really like sat back and realized like, okay, rich or not, man, 5 years is going to pass. And wouldn't you rather have the capital than not? So that kind of changed my mindset where I was just like, yeah, well, maybe I won't be rich till tomorrow, but I do think I'll be 5 years older at some point. And then I was right. I started to get more serious. I started to get more disciplined. And then guess what? 5 years after that date, I had a lot more wealth than I had ever had before. So it definitely works if that helps to get your mind around it. And the other thing that happens when you start to take this approach is, and I never thought this had happened for me, you get a lot more career oriented. Like when I was younger and I was making 50 grand a year, I never thought there would be a scenario in my life where I was making six figures. And once I started investing and I realized it was just a volume game, and the more you invest, the more money you're going to make, I started realizing like, oh, if I could just increase my salary, then I'm going to have to work less years. Not that my goal is ever to not work, but still, you want to achieve financial freedom. So all of a sudden, when like job opportunities and like stuff at work starts to pop up that you otherwise wouldn't have thought, like I guess maybe I had lower self-confidence when I was starting out my career. I don't know what it was at the time, but I just didn't think I'd be able to be a real high earner. And then as you start to watch your wealth grow every day over day, month over month, year over year, and you realize that like the key to getting that number bigger is to getting more income, then like whatever problem, whatever lack of confidence you're having in your ability to work, that kind of goes out the window, and you just start to raise your hand because it doesn't matter to you. You just want more money. You just want to get this thing bigger and bigger and bigger, and it becomes like this new addiction. And all of a sudden, you start to look at the people with the meme coins, and you start to look at the people, doing the drop shipping course or whatever the scam of the day is, and you try to pass game onto you, and they'll look at you like you're an idiot, and they just can't understand because they're still in that old way of thinking. And now you've broken out of it and you've started to build this thing, and you can actually see that this path that everyone told you but no one wants to listen to will actually work. And it's just like you can never go back to seeing things, you can never go back to seeing things the old way. So I'm not here to discourage you if you want to try to get rich through Bitcoin. I mean, I don't know if I'd put Bitcoin in the same category, but I'm going to make a separate video on Bitcoin. But if you're sitting here trying to get rich through one of these less than productive ways than I talked about, and it works for you, let me know below. But I want to see everyone get paid. I don't want to sit here and be a Debbie Downer. I'm just telling you what I've learned from actually trying these things and failing them in my real life. And if I could go back and talk to myself when I was 18 and save myself all the headaches and the years of pain and put myself ahead of the game, this is the advice I would give myself. So I'm going to make a ton of more videos in the future about tactical investments and different strategies and sort of just talk about money and financial stuff. But for now, I really just wanted to give more of an overview. If you're somebody who is young and just starting out and you think you're going to circumvent the system, I'm just letting you know. I'm not saying it never happens. It can probably happen, but it's a small fraction of the people. And of that subset of the audience that does go and pursue these head brink schemes to get rich, 99.9% of them are failing. They're getting set back, and when you think about it through the lens of compound interest, they're just wasting time, and they're going to be the person with the $820,000 in retirement instead of the 1.6, if you know what I mean, if you can refer to my example from earlier. So it's just food for thought. Let me know what topics you want me to discuss in the future, and if you're still listening to the video at this point, I gotta thank you for for hanging in there. Take it easy. Peace.